I have known Kelly Sexsmith, who's a counselor at Street Health, for quite a long time, and she, in the course of her counseling work at Street Health, has recognized that there are a lot of clients who have quite a bit of artistic talent, but don't always have the opportunity to show their work or be recognized as artists. And so she had an idea to create an art show that would both be a way of generating income for the clients, but she also hoped to, what she also hoped to achieve was to give them an opportunity to show in a group setting in as professional an environment as we can possibly create on a limited budget.
Our idea was to just provide a forum for people to show their art to the community. In sort of maybe an effort to help with destigmatization.
So it started as an idea to kind of promote their creativity and give people an outlet that was positive and not necessarily about the negative things in their lives.
We have over the years done all kinds of things to try to make money, because what we try to do is make this as easy for the artists to participate in as possible. And we also want to make it possible for them to earn money if they can. So the way we work it at most galleries, the gallery owner takes 50% of sales just to cover their costs. But we have it set up so that the artists get 90% and we just take a small percentage to help us cover the costs, which it's not really enough. So we have in the past received a Davies Foundation grant. We've had grants from, or just donations, sorry, from local citizens and various organizations.
There's an organization called the Ontario HIV Treatment Network, and they had approached us, as well as another organization in Ontario, as potential recipients for something called the J. Brown Living Legacy Award. And that looks at groups and agencies that have, over a period of time, put a committed work to HIV prevention and had significant contributions. So they had nominated the Street Health Centre. And generally what they do is they give you some money for this award as well as a nice glass award, but they want you to do something with it that's meaningful for your community. So we put in a proposal to do a project called a dictionary. And it was kind of a play on the word addict, which is a kind of contentious term, particularly in the harm reduction world. Is it negative? Is it pejorative? Is it value-free? What does it mean? Addict carries a huge stigma as a label. People tend to only see the label and not the person. So we wanted to kind of play with that a little bit and explode it and talk about the people behind the label. And we saw art and media and creative expression as a way to break down those stereotypes and give people a real voice.
And he came to me and said, "You have to see this woman's artwork. It's going to be on the cover of the book, the poetry book."
But I was first sort of introduced to the show through Doug Roy, who was a nurse at Street Health and who invited me to be part of the show. And he was a poet, and I actually happen to be a poet too. Yeah, large is better for me. Small just doesn't feel right. I don't know. I think I think I'm just naturally a big thinker when it comes to images, and I like to have a lot to work with, and I like to have a long journey, and I like big art anyway. So it's my preference. I don't really. When I have an idea, it's not going to be usually a small idea, so it's best executed large. A lot of the art is very vulnerable. A lot of the art is telling you something about what is going on in their hearts, and it's really something. Like, it's not like a regular art show, because a regular art show can be very unfocused. Like, if it's a group show, it can be maybe drawn together by a common theme, but nothing as personal, meaningful, or emotional as the connection to Street Health is.
When we first started it, we weren't sure what the response would be, but quite quickly the downtown business community jumped in, offered us some free space. We got a lot of support to put it together, and then CBC Radio picked it up, the media, and it made a big splash the first year because it was so, I think, unique. And people are quite curious about this population. I think there's a there's a public curiosity around kind of whether it's the downtown east side of Vancouver or, you know, inner city urban problems that happen. People don't understand necessarily people who panhandle or are homeless or people who have mental health problems. And they certainly don't understand people who have addiction issues and injection drug use issues. So I think there was a sense that people come out of curiosity and because it was seen as a good, supportive, kind of charitable thing to do.
So we frame it all and try to make sure that the exhibiting venue is as professional looking as possible. So I think that what initially brought a lot of people in was interest and support of the broader street health community, but what keeps them coming back, and the reason we sell quite a bit of work, is that it's often really interesting work and, as I say, eclectic, and there's a huge range of work. I mean, most of it hangs on the wall, but we've had some really interesting three-dimensional work, and so I think that's why people keep coming back.
He always brings the most incredible work, and people really, really love his pieces.
It's been a really bad year for me, so my work is basically, I'm purging myself. When everything fell apart, my wife died, my girlfriend and I broke up, I was living in a hotel room, I was homeless, I was thinking about using again, I was in a mess. Either I was on my way to jail or getting high again, which would eventually to jail. And I started beachcombing, picked up bones, stones, and sticks. This one's called Sticks and Stones, May Break My Bones. It's actually a Chinese tea chest. And just interesting things that I found. There's a seagull skull, and a pike skull, and a sturgeon's pellet. And all types of interesting stones, and, zebra mussels, there's a shark's tooth, a seagull's wings, and some of the bones are cracked, and it basically has also a snake skin, and some 38 shells, brass casings, not shot in anger. I'm going to see how these ones go and what type of input, you know, see what kind of comments I get, and hopefully it maybe even sell one. That'll give me some, you know, extra push to keep going.
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, I'll tell you a story. When we were setting up for the Art on the Street show, which always supported, we had a television journalist in, and she was interviewing one of the artists, and so she had an interview with him, and he was explaining his work of art, but as he explained his work of art, he explained himself and kind of what contributed to where he found himself in life. And the thing with our people and this work is it's so meaningful because people really grapple with the big issues of life, and they're very honest about it, and the stuff we can all learn through their vulnerability. But through this work of art, he was able to articulate kind of the logic of his life choices and how he got kind of through the low points and then kind of back up again in a way that's so powerful and meaningful, both for him to put a name and an experience on it and take a little bit of control that way, and also for it to make sense to other people. It made sense as a beautiful work of art. His story then made sense, and we're dealing with a population that, because of stigma and really pretty poor understanding of their conditions, faces a lot of judgment.
Who am I? Fat Bob. That's what they call me. I like any type of art, really, and I like a lot of the artists that are in here. I see the improvement from the last couple of years. Amanda did great. She's really improved. Riley's changed her style here. I guess when you got last name Styles, I guess you can change your style, eh? We can't afford to rent a gallery. There's a lot of artists out there that are just on low-level incomes, so they just, if you get it in here, people see it.
I've been an artist for approximately 30 years, self-taught. I do mostly birds, wildlife, but mostly birds. I like to do the blue jays and red cardinals the most. Birds are very beautiful and colorful, and they're free.
John McFarlane. I'm a 56-year-old man serving time for a number of bank robberies. I rediscovered art as an outlet for thoughts, feelings, and philosophies. I started with stick men in about 1996 and have slowly developed since then. I have no formal training past high school where I took a great interest in art, but after high school, life intervened and art fell by the wayside. I connected to the art show or the people in the art show. I have to admit I was somewhat bewildered by the feelings that experience evoked. I was connected to something and some people, principally you, of course. I have lost that attachment, that connectedness to people. Even now it is dormant, but it is principally in my mind.
I think it means something different for all of them. Some of them make plans every year to participate and talk about it in advance and try to create work between shows. Some of them put in, they're producing work regularly and they give us whatever they've produced most recently. There are some people who are not practicing artists, or they don't make art on a regular basis, but think it would be a fun and interesting opportunity.
What's in the future for the art show? You know, I think to some degree more of the same. I think this year we had a music component that went over well, but we could give a bigger platform to, because as a form of creative expression, music and spoken word and all that can be as powerful and as meaningful to our clients as paint or sculpture. So we'd like to expand that. And I think also the media arts, electronic filmmaking, animation. I think we have some people with some great ideas that haven't had access to the resources or the medium that they require to kind of get their vision out there. So we'd like to bring some people in to work with our folks in doing some new media stuff and probably expand the music and spoken word, because there's just so much people have to say. There's the form, there's the expression, but then there's also the content. People have stories they want to tell, and appreciate a platform to do it, and put a lot of work and effort into it. So the band this year rehearsed a lot and then had kind of a one-off show. So we're going to try to find them another venue, but I think next year we'll try to expand it, different kind of platforms, maybe a little more than we had this year.